The Ole Miss football team is headed to Little Rock to face Arkansas tomorrow.
Coming up, we'll preview the game and see if the Rebels will be able to end their 4-year losing streak to the Razorbacks.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Maddie Sabourin.
And I'm Ashley Muller.
The Rebels will travel to Arkansas tomorrow to face the Razorbacks, who have had the Rebels number for the past 4 years.
The most heartbreaking of those games being 3 years ago when Arkansas converted a 4th and 25 into a first down to win the game. Sports Watch reporter Skye Spiehler is in studio to give us a look into what we can expect in tomorrow's match. Skye?
That's right, guys. The Rebels are going into the natural state to try and conquer the Razorbacks. It's the first time all season that Ole Miss is favored to win an SEC game. That's probably because Arkansas's only win came against Eastern Illinois of the Ohio Valley Conference. Arkansas has won their last 4 meetings against the Rebs, and it kind of feels like a curse at this point, but there's reason to believe Ole Miss has an edge. Arkansas is 1-5 with a pair of bad losses to Colorado State and North Texas. The Rebels put a beating on Louisiana Monroe last week. They threw the ball, they ran the ball, and they looked a bit better on defense. Granted, it was Monroe, but the Rebs have moved some guys around, and the D looks a little different than it did against LSU. I think the Rebels are going to break the curse this year. No repeats of the swine intervention. Maddie, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Skye. And the Ole Miss football team aren't the only ones with a big game tomorrow. Sports reporter Halle Ames is live in the newsroom to let you know what game you can attend if you're not headed to Arkansas. Allie?
Thanks, Maddie. The Ole Miss baseball team has been competing in inter-squad play for the past couple of weeks, but tomorrow they get to put their skills to the test when they take on someone other than their teammates.
The Ole Miss baseball team is preparing for their fall ball season with their first non-inter-squad game versus Delta State. Many fans are excited for this season and are taking advantage of the away football game to watch the baseball team take the field once again.
I'm going to the game this weekend. It's our first game against Delta State, so I'm really excited. I'm just going to go as a fan this time. My family's just big into baseball. My brother plays baseball. My dad plays baseball. I have a lot of friends on the team. My boyfriend's actually on the team, so it's a lot of fun.
Some fans have grown up with some of the players and attend as many games as possible to give support and for the love of the game.
I met Gray when I was in 1st grade and he was in 2nd grade, and we've grown up playing together, and me and Thomas always grew up playing against each other, and then we're very good family friends. So.
The Rebels will be at Swayze Field at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Their next inter-squad game is October 19th, and the next non-inter-squad game is against Little Rock on October 27th.
Hopefully the boys take home their first fall ball win tomorrow versus Delta State. It should be a nice fall day, so make sure you get out to Swayze. Ashley, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Halle. Hurricane Michael may have been the 3rd most powerful storm to ever hit the United States. Now over 1 million people are without power from Florida to Virginia, and the death toll is rising. It now sits at 13 people. Mexico Beach is for the most part leveled from the monstrous storm.
Massive flooding, demolished infrastructure.
Roofs are gone, houses are flattened, trees are everywhere.
A trail of devastation from Florida to Virginia. Hurricane Michael moved out to sea as a post-tropical low Friday morning, but not before delivering a final blow to the storm-weary Carolinas and southern Virginia.
During Michael, we saw wind gusts of almost 70 miles an hour in the Outer Banks, rain totaling almost 10 inches.
The destruction the storm left behind now coming into focus.
Unfortunately, we're still not through all the rubble. It's going to take us a while to get through it, and people are not going to be able to return home.
Several coastal towns in Florida left unrecognizable, but almost none more than Mexico Beach, ground zero for Michael's wrath.
It looks like a war zone.
Residents who rode out the storm left in shock.
This has been, I don't even know if I had the words to describe it. It's been the worst nightmare I've ever been through in my life.
Limited cell service.
Brandy, it's Dad.
People are slowly getting in touch with loved ones.
If you would just post that on Facebook so everybody can see it, that we're okay, that we can't get any signal.
And starting to figure out just how to get on the road to recovery.
Are you guys going to make it?
I hope we're going to make it. I feel we will.
And President Trump tweeted today that he will visit both Florida and Georgia next week. The president says that the government is working on helping every area and state that was hit by the storm. Apartment homes in Oxford have been expanding in rapid rates, but with a steady declining number of students at the university, it becomes a challenge to fully occupy these homes. NewsWatch reporter Madison Ames tells us more.
With the fall semester halfway over, students are already looking for a place to call home for next year. Local apartment homes hope to get their name out to students through housing fairs.
The housing fair is effective. Some people, just go for the prizes, but some people actually do need housing off campus. Most people are looking for the price, so they usually just go there to see what the price is before they actually go somewhere and sign.
In the past 2 years, apartment complexes in Oxford have been planning for the increase in student enrollment at Ole Miss. However, with the influx of students plateauing, many apartment complexes are now competing with each other to fill their vacancies.
They were anticipating the class to keep rising with the drop-off in football, among other things, winning records and stuff like that. The classes have dipped over the years, and with that dip in students, we have more places now, and they're continuing to build some more, and the students aren't increasing, which leads to low occupancy across the board.
With all of the available options due to the high rate of vacancies, students' opportunities for reasonable rent broaden.
When you find housing, you need to go looking around May, June, or July, April, around that time, because then prices are low because they're trying to fill up as quickly as they can and beat their competition.
A lot of people think that you got to pay this large, gap difference, but if you set it up right to your own budget, it works.
Madison Amen, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
A report about microaggressions at Ole Miss was published this week. The report was derived from the Race Diary project, which conducted a study observing students' personal journals about their experiences with racism, misogyny, homophobia, and other discriminatory behaviors on and off campus. The university's leadership team says that the incidents reported do not promote the inclusive community we strive for. Our campus offers many resources to deal with these incidents, including the Bias Incident Response Team, the Center for Inclusion and Cross-Cultural Engagement, and the Office of Conflict Resolution and Student Conduct. If you receive the Oxford Citizen in your mailbox, then your mail is going to be a little lighter. The semi-weekly newspaper is publishing its last edition on Sunday. The paper is owned by the Daily Journal and has been delivered to every home in Oxford on Thursdays and Sundays for the past 5 years. The Citizen's general manager, Sarah Brooke Bishop, says that the paper's parent company has had recent changes in leadership and felt it would be best to go a different direction in Oxford.
The Mississippi Department of Education has announced that the Oxford School District received an A rating. This maintains its position as one of the top districts in the state. The state's A through F grading system measures student performance, progress from year to year, graduation rates, and college and career readiness. All schools are held to the same expectations, and the results are clearly communicated to parents and the community. The Oxford School District received an A rating due to their hard work and dedication to excellence. The Humane Society has been shut down in order to make way for Oxford's first no-kill animal shelter for the first time in 25 years. NewsWatch reporter Nadja Jauregui has more.
That's right. Today I visited Mississippi Critters to find out the current renovation status. Mississippi Critters President Gail Brown says they are holding numerous fundraisers to help with the process.
Mississippi Critters is currently under renovation and should be done in about 3 weeks. President Gail Brown gets her drive from her love for animals and wanting to provide a safe space for them.
Well, my driving force for continuing to do what I'm doing, even though the days have been long and tiring, my ultimate goal is, I can see the vision, I've seen it for years, to actually be able to open a no-kill shelter here, and the opportunity that it'll provide for this community to be proud of and have a shelter that they can come to and feel good about.
In order for the transition to go by smoothly, Mississippi Critters is taking any donations and accepting foster applications for the next several weeks.
Right now we are maxed out on our fosters, and we're still looking for fosters because we have other animals that's waiting that people need to turn over because maybe they're possibly going out of town. So our fosters are essential for us to be able to make this transition and do it smoothly.
Oxford residents can stop by their adoption event at the Wine and Spirits Warehouse on October 18th from 1 to 6. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Nadja. Coming up, find out the new information Facebook has just released concerning the company's biggest security breach and how millions of users have been affected.
And stay tuned to see if Kim Kardashian was saying Kanye or Kanye after her husband's meeting with President Trump yesterday.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
A possible murder mystery could put the United States at odds with Saudi Arabia, a key ally. There are reports that a Washington Post journalist was killed by a group of Saudis, and there's a bipartisan push for the White House to demand answers. More than a week has passed since Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi vanished. This closed-circuit footage shows the Saudi journalist heading into what Turkish authorities say was a death trap.
We're determined to get to the bottom of it, and we'll have more on that in the near future.
The Washington Post reports the government of Turkey told the U.S. it has audio and video recordings that prove Khashoggi was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Senators in both parties want answers.
The intel points directly at them and them thinking about this in advance. The administration will have to pay attention to that.
Where somebody apparently has been murdered because they had the audacity to speak out against the ruling people in their country. If we do nothing, what do we stand for?
On the same day Khashoggi went missing, Turkish authorities say a group of Saudi men flew into Istanbul and checked into a hotel near the consulate. About 2 hours after Khashoggi entered the consulate that day, security footage leaked to Turkish media shows tinted consulate vehicles leaving the area. Saudi officials deny any involvement in the disappearance of Khashoggi.
But it's a very serious situation, and it's something we're taking very seriously.
On Wednesday, a bipartisan group of senators sent a letter to the White House, specifically calling on President Trump to determine if Saudi Arabia is responsible for Khashoggi's death. An American pastor, Andrew Brunson, has been released to the U.S. after over 2 years of detainment from Turkish authorities. The Turkish court convicted Brunson of aiding terrorism, but sentenced the pastor to time served and has turned him over to the U.S. authorities for his immediate release. Turkish prosecutors originally sought a 35-year sentence when he was first accused of spying and supporting terrorists. The case has gotten the attention of the highest levels of the U.S. government and put stress on Turkey and the U.S. relations. Brunson will be flown to a U.S. air base in Germany where his health will be evaluated before being flown back to the United States.
Facebook announced today that hackers accessed almost 30 million accounts, including users' phone numbers and emails. The social media giant previously stated that 50 million accounts had been hacked. However, that number has since decreased. 14 million of the users affected had even more information accessed, including where they live, relationship status, and religion. The hack occurred last month and is the biggest security breach in the company's history. Facebook will contact the 30 million users in the coming days and will post information in the Help Center. Many details about the hack have not been made public, including who is behind it and who they are targeting. Just weeks before the U.S. midterm elections, Facebook has removed over 800 pages and accounts. The accounts violated rules against spam and coordinated inauthentic behavior. Networks have started using false political content to build an audience and drive traffic to their websites. One page removed was right-wing news, which had over 3 million followers. Facebook has fallen under scrutiny by lawmakers for allowing misinformation to flourish since the 2016 election. A Facebook spokesperson stressed that the company took action against behavior violations, not content violations.
Kanye West meeting with President Trump yesterday a disaster, but what does his wife Kim Kardashian have to say? According to a source close to the family, she's not embarrassed and is incredibly supportive. A far cry from some of West's fellow artists who described the televised meeting as repulsive, among other things. At the White House, West talked about an alternate universe, dropped some profanity, and argued time doesn't exist, but Kim is standing by her man. A source added West's mind moves at lightning speed, and the meeting wasn't the best representation of his, quote, genius.
Melania Trump's favorability rating is up after a slight decrease over the summer. The number now stands at 54%, 3 points higher than in June. The poll was taken during the First Lady's solo visit to 4 nations in Africa. In an interview with ABC News, she claims to be most bullied person in the world. She also said that allegations against her husband are not always pleasant. In relation to President Trump, the First Lady remains solidly ahead in favorability standings.
Well, it has been a beautiful fall day in Oxford, and I'm so happy that the colder weather has finally made its way here.
Me too, Maddie. This fall weather has been such a great break from the heat. Up next, Kayla White will let us know in her extended forecast if this nice weather will continue.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Did you put a new dent in that?
This one? No.
Were you texting and driving again?
Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered.
Oh. My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
Whoa. For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Good evening, Rebels and Hottie Toddy. We're sitting at a cool 66 right now. Partly cloudy, but no rain in those clouds. Light winds. Looking behind at the satellite image, you see there is not much going on in Oxford. If we go ahead and look at tomorrow's temperatures, not tomorrow's temperatures, but how our neighbors are faring. South Haven's at 67, Oxford's at 68, along with Holly Springs. Corinth is at 70, and Tupelo is at 71. Looking at tomorrow's temperatures, things are going to heat up just a little bit. South Haven's at 66, Oxford at 69 tomorrow. Holly Springs between those at 67, Corinth at 70, and Tupelo at 72. Moving on to tonight's forecast, it is going to get a little chilly. So we're at 51, partly cloudy, again, no rain, perfect to cuddle up with your blanket and a good movie, hot cocoa. Sounds good to me, huh? All right, and then moving right along to tomorrow's forecast, it's going to heat up just a little bit, 69 degrees. Like I said, mostly sunny, no rain in those clouds, winds are light and variable. All right, so moving on to that 5-day forecast. Sunday at 76, Monday we're going to drop to 58 along with Tuesday. Back up to 64 and 67 Wednesday and Thursday. Now at the top of the week, I would bring my umbrella because we have some rain clouds. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kayla. The Ole Miss soccer team have been at home, hot at home, and cold on the road. See if this trend continued against LSU.
And Odell Beckham Jr. has had outbursts on the sideline before, but find out why he got into a fight with a fan. Up next in Sports Watch.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
I'm Skye Spiehler. The Rebels soccer team had to tango with the Tigers last night. The match against LSU looked good for the Rebs at halftime. Ole Miss led 1-0 at half off a 12th minute Channing Foster goal, but the second half was all LSU. The Tigers tied it up on a PK right out of the break, and that was the beginning of a tough night for freshman keeper Morgan McAslin, who's starting now with Marnie Merritt out for the year. LSU went up in the 75th minute and added another goal 2 minutes later. Ole Miss falls to 9-6-1 with their next matchup against Kentucky on October 18th. Ole Miss volleyball's got 2 SEC matches this weekend. The first is against 14-4 Mizzou and Oxford. The second is against number 16 Kentucky and Lexington. The Rebels have had a tough time versus conference opponents. They're 1-4 against SEC teams, but they're coming off of a win over LSU last Sunday. Emily Strope set an Ole Miss record with 30 kills in a single game. She's been the star for the Rebels this season. Both Mizzou and Kentucky are also coming in with some momentum. Mizzou won both of their matches last weekend, and Kentucky is undefeated in conference play. Last night was the newest installation in the Odell Beckham Meltdown series. Once again, OBJ let his emotions get the best of him in a 21-point loss to the Eagles. Cameras caught Odell headbutting a fan and heading into the locker room early before halftime. This comes after Odell publicly called out his teammates for a lack of heart in an interview with Josina Anderson. Beckham's patience is running thin on the Giants' struggles, and the Giants are probably running out of patience with him. He just signed a massive contract, though, so New York's just going to have to deal with it. First pitch of the NLDS between the Dodgers and the Brewers is at 7:09 tonight. The Nats' Gio Gonzalez is taking on LA's Clayton Kershaw. In Kershaw's last performance, he threw 8 scoreless innings and gave up only 2 hits. For Milwaukee, Gonzalez is coming in to pitch his first game of the postseason. That could be an end for the Dodgers offense, who had hot bats against the Braves. LA's got a lot of power between Machado, Puig, and Peterson, and the Dodgers definitely seem to have an advantage tonight in Milwaukee. Well, that'll wrap up sports, but make sure to follow us on Twitter at NewsWatch_UM for more of your favorite sports updates. Maddie, Ashley, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Skye. Next up, find out why today's National Day is super.
And if you're a fan of vegetables, you'll love this Cajun dish that is anything but meaty okra.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans. Because love has no labels.
In an ode to Cajun cuisine, today is a day to indulge. It's National Gumbo Day, and there is much more to this southern delicacy than just spice. The dish originated in Louisiana in the 18th century and is the official food of the state.
There are several ways to make gumbo, including with meat, chicken, and seafood. But it's not gumbo without okra. After all, the name comes from an African word for the pod vegetable. You can celebrate Gumbo Day by using hashtag National Gumbo Day on social media to share your favorite recipes.
I'm so glad it's finally cooling off enough to eat some gumbo. Kayla, is that going to stick around?
It is, it is. We are in full swing of fall, and I think even Kanye would benefit from a bowl of gumbo.
That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for the weather recap, Kayla. That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Maddie Sabourin.
Be sure to join us here again Monday night at 5 and on NewsWatchOleMiss.com. I'm Ashley Muller. Thank you and good night.